back to the channel. So today we're starting to plant our potatoes. So these are our main crop potatoes that we're trying to put in the paddock that the pigs used to be on last year. Now this is a bit of a task because this ground's been waterlogged all winter and it's absolutely rock solid. But we're proceeding, we're going to keep going and try our best. We've got about 200 potatoes, well 220 in total that we're wanting to get in. Some of them are in containers, but for the majority they're going in these rows. They're about 75 foot long, so from the top there where the fork is, all the way down to the bottom where the old pig ark made out of an IBC tank is. And we're putting them in at, I don't know, about a foot apart. I don't tend to measure too well. And most of these, if I remember rightly, are main crop. So we've put in 24 Mari Piper, we've put 16 sarpo Mira in, and we're starting on the caras now. I haven't counted these yet, but we'll do a run through of everything at the end. So all I'm using is my trusty bulb planter. We don't dig trenches, and I'm not laying them directly on the surface like I've tried before, just because I don't think things will take in this ground with it being so hard. We do want to try no dig, so I don't want to turn it over. We're just going to see how it goes. So I'm just literally using a bulb planter, digging it in as deep as the potato warrants, popping the potato in, and then we're going to come along and cover this up with some well-rotten horse manure, or you could use shop-bought compost or anything that you've got really just to kind of cover them. And then we'll keep hilling them up over the next few weeks. We're due a frost next week, but I don't expect these shoots to be through before then. So these potatoes have been chitted for, I don't know, 4 to 6 weeks, something like that, and all that means is that they've got some little chits there. They've been set out in a light, cool place, so in our dining room where it's not that warm at all, and they've just been exposed to some light and some heat, and these guys have started chitting, so perfect length for them to get in the ground now. It's actually the 1st of April today, so I could leave them another week or two, but time-wise in our schedules don't allow that, so we're getting them in the ground. They should be fine underneath there for now. And when they do start growing through, I'll just hill them up with the grass or compost, as I say, whatever that might be. So we don't dig trenches, it would be take too long and laborious, and nobody got time for that. So we're just going to keep working along. There's a little dibber there that Stephen's made for me, so where the ground's a little bit too hard for the bulb planter, because this is getting old now, I just use the dibber and then work the bulb planter in. The only other thing I want to point out is this ground here that's got the bedding on it is super boggy. So you can see there, hopefully, how wet it's been. So this is why I put this on it, to try and help it dry out. Whether it's helped or hindered, I'm not sure. So all I've done is asked Grace to bring me down a bucket of shop-bought compost, which she's just done. And we'll just add a bit of compost in with the potato seed for the ones that are really boggy, just so they don't kind of rot in the ground. The plan is to just put the seed potatoes a little bit underneath the ground and we'll build it up on top for this year as the soil gets better over the next few years, hopefully. So that's why I've started off with this, just to get a hole in the ground and just to make it a little bit easier for the bulb planter. So we've got 25 Mari Piper at the moment to get in, so I'm just working on that, and then we've got another, well, we've got about 220 in total, so another 200 give or take. So Grace is going to pop the camera down and give me a hand. It's taken me a couple of hours and I've had help of Grace and Jack, but needless to say, they've left me now. I've got 153 seed potatoes in the ground. So I've got lots of different varieties, which I'll post below: Mari Piper, King Edwards, Blue Danube, Highland Reds, Kerrs Pink, Purple Majesty, to name a few. Can't wait to see what these turn out like. I'm really excited about them. I finished off to mark the end of the row, because this here is just mostly tree roots and things, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that bit, but I'll do something. And just to give you an idea of what I've been contending with, this is some form of root, whether it's from these big trees or some of the nettle roots, which are just ridiculously big. So I've tried to get as many as I can out, and obviously we'll weed as they come through. And although I've disturbed the soil more than I wanted to, I couldn't get the dibber in or the plug, the bulb planter. So I had to dig little bits, not all the way, some was worse than others. But yeah, so 153 in, I've got a few spare, which I'm going to be putting in some beds and containers up at the top. For now I need to go and get some manure just to cover these, because at the moment they're still sticking through a little bit, so I haven't covered them yet. And this soil's a bit too chunky to be able to cover it down here. So it'll just make life easier a bit for me if I go and get a barrow of muck and just make lines where they are, then at least I can see where they are as well. I'm not going to put any frost protection or anything on these guys just yet. We are expecting frost next week, but they won't be through by then, so they'll be fine. And then maybe I'll put some on in a few later months. But for now, that's the potatoes planted, and I'll do an update in 4 or 5 weeks time when they start coming through, and then obviously the harvest at the end as well. Just a little change of plan. Instead of putting horse manure on there, rotted horse manure, we had some spent goat bedding. Now goat manure is actually like a cool manure, it doesn't burn, so it doesn't have to rot down. And Grace has just cleaned out the pygmy goat, so this is, well, a couple of weeks ago actually, this has been in bags for a couple of weeks because I said I would put it on the plot as mulch. So this has been perfect. I just brought a bag of that down and just used that instead. So I've just got a couple of lines and a single line there. So you can see now where the potatoes meant to be. I'll give these a water and then this one was done. So I hope you've enjoyed this little short video just explaining what we're doing down here. So the rest of this is going to be planted up with different things. I'm going to put some brassicas in. They should love the firm ground. Get those in tomorrow, maybe later today, we'll see. But for now, that's it. I'll keep you updated on how the preserving paddock's going.